Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me today is the Welsh, and of course it's you, and we're talking all things baseball for you today. We got a recap of the games yesterday, a look ahead to the games today, and a little fun in between. Welsh, it's good to see you again, my friend, and how's your baseballing going?
It's going pretty good, my friend. I watched the multiple no-hitters the other night, or the attempted no-hitters that I feel like I've been ruining, by the way. We had one, trying to remember who it was now, I'm completely forgetting, but it was some days ago, and I tuned in, immediately lost it. Verlander had it, immediately lost it as I tuned in. I think he got one out, and then boom. And then actually getting a no-hitter go through with Reed Detmers was fun. A little bit of cycle action. It always brings up actually one of my favorite questions, even though I know this is a couple days old, but I haven't been here. One of my favorite questions of what is more unique, no hitters or cycles, as Christian Yelich hit for the cycle. It's one of my favorite debates because Bogman has always completely dismissed cycles, and I actually think cycles are really important and really exciting and about as unique as a no-hitter. So it's been good. It's been a good week of bad ump calls, cycles, no-hitters, all the fun stuff I want in baseball.
Well, it's nice to see Christian Yelich being Christian Yelich again, first and
Yeah.
foremost. I mean, bodes very well for any shares that you have of the Milwaukee Brewers going forward into the playoffs, maybe winning the National League, maybe even winning the World Series. They're going to need him to be Christian Yelich. I firmly believe that. But what's so hard about the cycle is the triple. That's the one. The home run
Sure.
is easy. The single and double, it's the triple that really everything has to kind of break right because it's got to be an actual triple, not a double and an error or some other kind of weird thing that happens where you end up getting to third base. That's the tricky one.
You know what's interesting in what you're saying too is when the triple's the last hit for you to get, it almost makes the cycle like 10 times more unique and more special, because sometimes you get a guy, they'll get the triple out of the way in the beginning, and then you get a homer, and then you get a double. How many times have you seen, a single be the thing that you need for the cycle? But, to lock it down with a triple, I think actually might be, I don't know, it might even be more special than a homer, like you said. Like a homer's a homer, but a triple is a very unique placement of the ball and a speed around the base path that I think make it so fun.
It's a placement of the ball. It's a hitting it to the spot where, you don't have a guy in the outfield who's got a great arm.
Exactly.
It's where the ball caroms off the wall. There's so many things that can go into a triple actually becoming one. And good on Christian Yelich. Congratulations to him for getting that. Let's get to the other headlines. Miles Mikolas throws one run in the blowout against the Orioles. Wilson Contreras stays hot with a homer. 3 runs scored for Wilson Contreras. Contreras has been terrific for the Cubs. He's been one of the lone bright spots. Yeah. I imagine he would be a very tantalizing player. The Cubs have not locked him up. I have to imagine somebody out there is going to want to bring in a Wilson Contreras. Do you think you have any takers there? I know the Yankees have been mentioned for him, but he would be a huge addition for a club in the thick of it, I think, later on.
I think he'd be a huge addition. I just don't think the Cubs want to move off any more pieces. I'm not sure that they want to put him out there. I think that's going to be part of the problem. I mean, the Cubs kind of completely failed at what we assumed was going to be an offseason where they were going to go and spend all that money that they traded off, and they just kind of went to Suzuki. They weren't able to bring in any other stars, and they are piecing some wins together. But Suzuki's struggling. The pitching staff is pretty gross. It's a relatively non-existent bullpen. So by those standards, Wilson Contreras would make sense to move off, but I just don't think they would. Plus, he's interesting. He's got some really good underlining hard hit numbers that seem to allow him to continue to be a really impactful bat that I think it would take a haul that no one wants to pay for. No one's going to pay for it.
We shall see. We shall see. That's for sure. Luke Voigt homered twice yesterday for the Padres. Rhys Hoskins homered for 3 straight games in a row. I wish I'd been picking Rhys Hoskins. That would have been nice. The other night I picked Bryce Harper instead. Did not go well. Alec Thomas, his first major league home run for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
You see that bomb too? You see that bomb? It's beautiful.
I did.
Like this dude, I can't get over. As somebody that I have watched this kid, pretty much since he came up. He's a skinny, kind of small kid who showed all the stuff. And then this year in camp, I have that picture I tweeted out in camp where I was like, dude, he got jacked. Like he got jacked. His dad's a former strength coach with the White Sox. And he hit this homer, if nobody really paid attention to it yesterday, where it was a bomb opposite field. And he just put his body right across the ball, doesn't even look, it actually is very reminiscent of Corbin Carroll if you watch him in the minors and how he hits. Just kind of a smaller, skinnier guy that you see the contact and you're like, all right, that might be a fly out. It's not. And Carroll hit it opposite field. Really, really beautiful swing. He's really hitting well to start and making a really good case to stay with the Diamondbacks so they don't throw him back down when, stupid Carson Kelly gets activated. Like, they got so many guys that they could just let go. I really hope they let him continue to go because he's hitting the ball. He's making great decisions. He is fast, probably the fastest player on this team, and he's a great defender. And he's a really, really solid deeper league fantasy option right now because he's doing a little bit of everything. If just the Diamondbacks should steal more bases, would be great.
What's the prospect one breakdown on Alek Thomas for those people in redraft and dynasty leagues?
In like what respect of like how you want him?
In both, in how you value him, what kind of profile you think he's going to be.
Yeah,
you mentioned he was a smaller kid. He's bulked up. He's showing a little bit of power now. He's been in this organization for a few years now. He is not new necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, his dad has been in baseball as a strength coach. He's a really, really smart kid. He's worked with a bunch of I had this really funny interview with him on Prospect One, and he was late to it. And I've had a couple instances of I've been stood up by a couple guys, and he was like really late to it. And when we finally got going, he's in this like big hotel, and they got like green behind him, and I have it on video. And he apologized, but then he proceeds to tell me stuff I can't talk about on air because he's like, oh, I've been training with this player. And this is a guy that not only from the strength side, he's also worked with a lot of major leaguers like one-on-one, which I always thought was pretty special. But he's a 5-tool player. He can hit for power. He can run. Diamondbacks don't run a whole bunch. Makes really smart decisions and was kind of a contact approach first guy. But he has continuously grown in as he's sees more pitches. He's building into that power, and that contact is translating into power. So I really like him. I think he's a kind of top of the order lineup type of guy where when Corbin Carroll comes up, these two are gonna do stuff. But I don't know if Alek Thomas is going to be I don't know if he's going to be like a 25 homerish type of guy. This is a cheap comp. But it could be like Benintendi. Like, think of a guy like
I was just gonna
Benintendi.
say.
Yeah,
I was gonna say he's gonna be more like a Benintendi, Michael Brantley kind of guy. Like where he's got some
not
pop,
Michael Brantley
batting average.
Michael Brantley is
athleticism.
Well, he's just so unique because when I think of him, I think of like he is just batting average. He doesn't run. Like Alec can really run if they actually
but
allow
Brantley
him
used to run when he was in Cleveland. Back in the day, Brantley would steal some bases for you. Like,
I guess I'm thinking of like right now.
You're thinking
Michael
of older
Brantley
Michael Brantley, but like younger Michael Brantley was a guy who was good for 15 swipes, I would say. I think that kind of profile might be interesting.
And Thomas has stolen double digits bases in every minor league season he's played in. He's moved multiple levels. He stole 13 last year, 15 in 2019, and he's hit double-digit homers in the past 2 years with 18 coming last year. And he had 12 triples last year with 29 doubles through 2 levels of the minors. He's one of those guys you profile when you see him. You're like, oh, he's a little bit smaller. They list him at 5'11", 175. Dude's probably 5'11", maybe 5'10", but he's probably like $190 now, and he just makes it happen. So I think he could be a 2020 guy is what I'm getting at. I don't know if the window is too much higher than that, but it's on a Diamondbacks team that, they get some offense going. They don't have a lot of other incredible options, but they do have the ability to be stupid and send him down. I just think he's a unique prospect to look at that is not as sexy as Royce Lewis or obviously Torkelson or any of those type of guys. I think at the end of the day he could really sneak in and have a solid season if the Diamondbacks let him stay. So sorry, that was a big homerish conversation on.
No, that's okay.
Alec.
That's all right. Also, yesterday you had Gleyber Torres hitting a home run, driving in 5. You got Javier Baez getting the day off today, and I've been talking about this yesterday. And I think this is the perfect time. And I'm not a Javi Baez guy. Everybody knows that, but I know value when I smell it. And this is value right now. He's getting the day off. He's going to get better eventually because it can't get much worse. It's just the law of baseball averages.
Dude, how many guys are we saying that with right now? By the way, there's so many guys.
There's a bunch of guys. Marcus Semien, Whit Merrifield. Remember, we talked about Whit Merrifield for weeks. Buying Whit Merrifield. He had a home run yesterday. It's going to get better.
All right, let me ask you this. If you could only buy one, Javi Baez or Marcus Semien?
Semien, because I like his overall profile better, to tell you the truth. Javi Baez has always been a too much strikeout for me. And it's not like Semien's being good is new. You go back to 2019 with the Oakland A's. You saw in the second half how he was just crushing the ball. And so it's him on this trajectory is not a surprise at all of how
What's
good this
interesting
guy.
about you saying Simeon, and here's the problem. I'm not sure there's anybody that's been worse. I mean, you look at his baseball
Maybe.
savant page, you throw open your mouth. He's not doing anything. There's no redeeming factor to Marcus Simeon right now.
Right.
But to that point, though, this is a guy that's hit 40 homers, stole 20 bases. How can you don't even have a logical explanation to be like, all right, guys, here's the thing that's going to make him better. It's just
up
like,
here.
no, he's so bad. How can you can't be this bad. You can't get this money and be this bad for this long. It's got to turn around. But I am actually surprised you said Simeon over him. But Simeon does, when he's on, he is a better player than when Baez is on.
I agree. And I think Simeon, there's also that underlying factor that people still don't believe in him. But just no matter how many good seasons he's had,
well,
they believe in Javi Baez. Well, he's proving it, but I mean, let's go back a couple years ago. Oakland, he was fantastic, right? Goes to Toronto, fantastic. To me, this is the classic guy who's now thrust into the "you're the guy" role with a lot of money in a new place with not a lot of line of protection. And of course, this is what's going to happen. He's going to go south for a little while, and we've seen it happen to better players than him. We've seen it happen to Carlos Beltran. We've seen it happen to Bryce Harper. We've seen it happen to much better players than Simeon. So why is he above it? He's not. So it's just a matter of the stock is rock bottom. I think the underlying metrics will tell you that people are more scared of him than they are of Javier Baez. I would take both of them if I could right now. Say
yeah. What's interesting, in the preseason, Simeon and Baez weren't on the same plane as far as value. I think they might be on a similar trade value plane right now, where I don't think you can get one cheaper, but I think they're just about the same. Well, what's interesting about what you're saying, though, just throwing this out, and I see some guys randomly brought up Yelich in here. I was doing a game on we actually haven't released it yet, the In This League pod, where it's going through and looking at, some of the baseball savant stuff. And I had actually picked out Christian Yelich's before we were supposed to do the recording before the games yesterday, before the cycle. And Yelich is just one of those guys where he's got a couple big warning signs, and then he's got just an incredibly positive baseball savant page of hard hit stuff and ex-WOBA, everything being there, and the numbers just weren't there because he was hitting like 245. It's just Simeon doesn't have that. Like what we have to rely on with Marcus Simeon is previous track record and the idea that it literally can't get worse. And with how baseball is now and how baseball analysis is now, that is uncomfortable because we're all like, okay, listen, this guy is this, but let me tell you, he's got the 15th best WOBA. He's got, barreling the ball at this rate that, you can go to line a few things that can back up your story. You don't have that with Simeon. You literally just got to be like, guys, he just can't be this bad. And that's a hard sell sometimes.
It's not a hard sell when a guy's had multiple good seasons for me. It's an easy sell sell to buy low in a trade. Because right now the person I think goes and says, oh my God, there's no redeeming underlying stats on this guy. I better get out. But I think it's mental, and just the way I think Jared Kelenich's mental. I watched a breakdown of his at-bats last night on MLB Network, and it was stunning to me to watch the lack of confidence he's got. And it was stunning to me. I mean, this was the guy, remember, we were joking last season about, remember Jared Kelenic had a whole website with his own merch and stuff like that. It was like the Jared Kelenic. I don't know if you remember this or you saw this. It was a joke here on the show. Google it. Google it right now, because I don't know how that merch is moving. But I think we should give away some of that merch here on Leading Off. That's what I think. I want to buy somebody a Jared Kelenic t-shirt. I don't know. It comes in size .001, which is like his batting average. But I don't know. But I mean, he came up with all this confidence, but to watch him now, the lack of confidence is just absolutely stunning.
I do think,
and I think that's what you're seeing with Simeon right now.
Yeah, I do. I have to say, I'm actually a pretty big, not that it completely holds, because I said this exact same thing about Cody Bellinger, and then Cody kind of went on a little bit of a tear, and then it went away again. But I do truly believe in confidence for baseball on specific players plays a role. But again, it's not. I think you can get a lot of snarky, kind of dismissive attitudes about that in this age of baseball analysis, because all anybody cites anymore, the only conversation is what is on Baseball Savant.
Yeah, but they're humans. They're not just numbers, and all that stuff is important, and all that.
But they are
viable.
projected.
It's just not the only story.
You and I are having this conversation, but 9 out of 10 shows are not going to have this conversation, or people in the chat.
That's why 9 out of 10 shows suck, and this is the best show right here. It's leading off, and that's why you subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB channel.
I do have one redeeming factor for Simeon. I do have one redeeming factor. He does technically have the second lowest strikeout percentage of his career, and I will say, always something, I think we talked about this. You'd love to see an inverse increase in walk percentage. It's not necessarily the case with him. It's a little bit under his
I think
career,
it's also helping that Corey Seager's starting to hit
low.
the baseball too. When Corey Seager's starting to hit the problem is both of them
Infectious
were stone cold
confidence.
for a month.
Yeah.
But I also think that you need a little bit more line of protection. To me, he was a guy that you hit him in front of Matt Olson, good things happen. You hit him in front of Vlad Guerrero, good things happen. To me, Corey Seager, somebody else on that team, Garcia, I don't know who, has got to get hot. And I think that helps Simeon see better pitches to drive. And that's it. I mean, sometimes baseball is not that deep. Also, a couple other notes here. Jordan Hicks scratched from today's start. He's going to start on Friday. Steven Matz is going to start today for the people in the daily lineup movement things. CJ Abrams had 2 home runs in AAA contest. Joe Adell also ripping up the AAA. Your thoughts on those two prospect guys who have been doing pretty well since being sent down?
Abrams was the first one. Yeah. I mean, Joe Adell is obviously built for AAA. Dare I say quad A? I'm not surprised.
No.
I mean, I still like him. I mean, this is the most classic thing that ever happens is a guy spends time in the majors, comes back down to the minors, and Abrams just absolutely dominant. I'm not worried about Abrams. I'm really not. Rookies in general, every person on the planet has put out the standards of like, look at all the rookies. They're all struggling. They're all trying to adjust. Maybe something to also tell you, guess what? Ball is a lot different in AAA. It's going to probably be there's no dead ball there, and the balls are starting to get crushed. Would sure love to have that, but I'm not worried about CJ Abrams, like literally one bit from a fantasy value perspective. Adele, I don't know, man. I don't know how much longer we can keep going down this circle. Like, I believe in the talent, and I've said I believe there will be a season similar to Jared Kelenic. I believe there will be a season where these guys click, they fixed it, and they tap into that potential. I just don't know when that's going to happen. And it does not feel like it's going to be this year. So that's why redraft, wash my hands. There will be a season where those two click and tap into that talent.
Look at Mike Mayer getting all worried. I can't believe we're still in the A block of the conversation. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm the greatest host in the history of the universe. Don't worry, I know how to pace a
Mayer
show.
has literally been.
Tonight.
Is he producing the show now? He's been saying, he was like, "Hey, you want a 7-minute podcast on Alec Thomas? Hey, guess what? Sometimes we talk about things. Sometimes we talk about things and we break them down for more than 3 seconds." Mayer.
It's a good thing. And Mark, I'm happy to take your trivia question. So if you got it, you can drop it in there and I'll bring it up to the group. Let's move on because we don't want Mike Mayer to get mad at us.
I don't know. You know what, Joe? Maybe let's stretch and hang out a little bit.
Thomas?
Let's go back to Alec Thomas.
Let's dad a little bit more.
Alec Thomas versus Marcus Simeon. Let's talk about that. Maybe I'll call Alec. Well, let's see if we can get him on. All right, now go ahead.
It's a Thursday. Thursday's a light day in terms of slate. There's hardly any games at night. I mean, what do you want from me? Huh? What do you want? Ronald Acuna out Wednesday with a sore groin. Ow. Byron Buxton hip was back in the lineup yesterday. Xander Bogaerts looks like a lot of people are starting to kick the tires here. I still think this would be a massive mistake for them to move on for Bogaerts in favor of Trevor Story.
Is this like what that Jim Bowden story where he's like, the Cardinals got to trade Gorman for Is this what this has to do with?
This is something I said yesterday. So if he said that, he probably ripped it off of the show like everybody else rips off this show all the time. It is getting really frustrating. ESPN ripped us off. MLB Network just ripped us off for something Mayor pointed out yesterday. Now Jim Bowden stealing our stuff. Whatever, dude. You know, we know you're watching. You don't pretend like you're not. By the way, I don't know if you've been watching this. Masahiro Tanaka in Japan has a 1.17 ERA with a .78 whip in 46 innings and threw a shutout in his last start. How about them apples? What do you think of that, Welsh?
That'd be great. It'd be great if that was here. That was actually coming down here, but it's not. It's in Japan. Nobody cares.
All right, here we go. I saw this story. Mike Mayer doesn't believe me that I saw it. I didn't put it in the show sheet. He put it in the show sheet because he thought it was interesting. Let's see. You tell me if it's interesting or not.
Okay.
Yenier Cano made his major league debut yesterday. Didn't throw a pitch. He was announced, entered the game. Lightning caused the game to be suspended. He's only the second player in Major League Baseball history to make an official debut without throwing a pitch. The other is Larry Yount, brother of Hall of Famer Robin Yount. Is this an interesting story to you? I didn't think it was.
No, not really.
Okay. All right, good.
Did you wait, I'm sorry. Did you think it was and he or
no.
opposite? You didn't. No,
I didn't. He said, I threw in the show sheet. I said, yeah, I saw it. And he's like, liar. He actually said liar to me in our Slack channel. I was like, I'm not a liar. I saw it. I was like,
you know what? It's interesting in the moment you told me, but the minute you move the question to, do you find this interesting? I was like, nope, I don't find him interesting anymore. Like after it was done, it was done. Like it was cool in the second, but I'm over.
All right. Also, here's a real trivia question. Who are the other two active players with multiple career cycles? Anybody know? If you know in the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks and you subscribe to FantasyPros MLB, you can answer correctly in the chat and you win my undying respect.
You don't have it in here, do you? Because
I do, but you don't look at the show sheet, which is nice. So that I know that.
Now I looked at it.
Don't know. Why you ruin a good thing?
Can I give a hint?
Can I give a hint? Cycles. Go ahead. Fine.
They play on the same team, but they did not get those cycles on the same team. They actually were on opposite team, not even on the current team that they're on. So that's like a dual hint.
I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm going to bring this up. Mayor says, number one, Joe is a liar. I will screenshot this and I will tweet him calling me a liar. He's probably deleting it right now in Slack.
Yeah, exactly. And Mike Mayer bots delete evidence. Yeah, exactly.
If Mike Mayer thinks, forget my man. If Go Cards thinks it's relevant, then I'm happy we mentioned it today. Trey Turner is one of them. Trent Fleming, good job. You have my half of my.
Now respect. The hint just
now you know. Now you know. Well, we'll see what happens. This day in baseball history in 1950, Welsh, Red Sox star Ted Williams has to apologize to the hometown fans for insulting gestures he made in response to catcalls prompted by two errors he made in a doubleheader in losses to Detroit. What do you think the gestures were?
They used catcalls? That was the description? Catcalls are not what I would describe being hazed from now. They're like, hey there, Teddy Williams. Woo! Look at that.
Yeah, catcalls like, hey, look at that shake. Look at that shake from Teddy Ballgame.
Hey, Teddy, those pants looking mighty tight. Like that's what catcalling sounds like to me.
You are the splendid splinter indeed. Oh yeah.
Maybe the gesture. Maybe he was doing like Vulcan signs. Like
what was the gesture?
I don't know.
What was the gesture? And look at Red B. Joey is a salesman, a storyteller, a man's man. Mike Mayer, take notes. That's right. Where's your $20? I don't know. It's in the mail. All right, let's go on to some other things. Here are the stat heroes. We'll fly through these. Shane McClanahan, 11 strikeouts. Awesome. That was the guy last night for us on DFS. Hope you played it. Zach Logue, don't know where this came from. 7 innings on no earned runs, 6 Ks, excuse me. Sandy Alcantara had 7 innings, 1 earned, 6 Ks. Miles Mikolas, another strong outing for him. Only 3 Ks, but still 7 innings, 1 earned. And Shohei Ohtani, 5 Ks, 1 earned run in that matchup against McClanahan. The hitters, of course, Yelich 4 for 5 with the cycle. Luke Voit with the 2 dingers. Whit Merrifield 3 for 4 with a home run and a stolen base. 4 runs scored. And he was the value play of the day on the show at DFS. How you doing? Whit Merrifield on FanDuel yesterday was great. Hunter Renfroe 2 for 5, 2 home runs. Yay, Hunter Renfroe. Colin Moran hit a dinger. Arcia hit a home run. Josh Van Meter hit a home run. Also, we had Stevenson getting 4 RBIs for the Reds and Gleyber Torres and Brendan Donovan having good days. Also, stat zeros. It was not a good start for Tylor. He was terrible. I don't know. It's a bad pun. 8 earned runs.
Sucked.
So what happened here? Well, to Tylor. What happened to our boy? He got blown up, man.
He got really, really blown up. I haven't dug into...
Buck Showalter was like, go eat it, son.
Yeah, I haven't gone and dug into what happened in that start. His success has come from a big velo uptick across the board, and I kind of think this is one of those things with these middle line. There's a handful of these guys, these middle line pitchers that went from they're all right to holy crap, what are these performances? I feel like this is kind of the comeback down to earth. Teams are starting to adjust. If these guys, they uptick their velocity and their stuff comes a little bit harder, it's going to take a little bit more for teams to find their adjustment. I think teams might. It also could just be a blip, but I think this is the adjustment of everyone's like Tylor McGill as he rises the ranks every single week. This is the thing that brings him back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, and this is the great time to buy because someone is freaking out right now. It is not Mookie Betts, by the way, Trey Turner's teammate, but you're close.
Someone already posted it actually.
Oh, they did? Oh, Freddie Freeman is the other.
It was Trent.
Where is it? Where's the Freddie Freeman?
Trent did it right under the Turner.
Right under the Turner. There you go. There you go. All right, Trent. Well done. Trent nailed it. Did both of them. Well done. Let's go to Mark's trivia question here because this is fun from our Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks.
All right.
Judge hit a walk-off home run the other day. He hit 167 career home runs without a walk-off, and that was the 5th amongst active players. Who are the other top 4? So guys who don't have walk-off homers. That's an interesting stat there.
And then that means they've got to have probably closer to the 200 plus homer marker. If he says he hit 167 without a walk-off, I'm assuming this has got to be guys with more homers without a walk-off.
Yeah, I would assume. I assume that's what it is.
I mean,
so
I got
that's,
no idea. I wouldn't even be able to.
I got none. Well, I mean, look, I mean, we could sit here and try to do them. I wonder if it's somebody like a Freddie Freeman or somebody like that. But, I'm thinking like some of the guys who have had longer careers, it can't be guys like Pujols and Cabrera and guys like that.
It's funny. I went to Pujols too. That's my brain went to Pujols here. And I'm like, nah, Pujols has definitely walked.
He had to have had a walk-off home run. I mean, there's no way he didn't have a walk-off. So that's interesting. I want to know those names, Mark. So drop them in there. Here are the other crappy pitchers yesterday. Spencer with an S in the middle. Spencer Watkins, 7 earned runs, 8 hits. Cool Chad, of course, Bogman's favorite guy, 5 earned runs from him. Nick Martinez, 5 earned. Jose Barrios, 5 earned. A loss to the Yankees for Barrios, and Melanson stunk, 4 earned runs. Barrios has not been good. This is a problem for the Blue Jays. They need a third starter to be good. So are the Blue Jays going to be in the market for a Montas or a Luis Castillo sooner than later here? Because I think they should be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they've still got some of the assets. They've also had a couple guys that have kind of popped up in the minors. Ricky Tiedemann is one of those 19-year-old pitcher who's got one of the best K rates in minor league baseball right now. Pretty decent K minus walk percentage. He walks a little bit, but huge. It's like I think it's 42% K percentage he has. His stuff has been working. He's a lower level pitcher. That's the exact type of guy you go and trade to go get a Montas. So yeah, I think they are 100% going to be in the market because they've got some assets to move, and this team is built to win. And good point.
Welcome
Drew says,
back.
We got Ryu coming back.
Yeah, but he's fine. Ryu is not the answer either. They need somebody else in a short series. Ryu is not the answer. Welcome back, Evan Longoria, 0 for 5, 3 Ks. Wander Franco, Brian Hayes, Will Myers, Kike Hernandez, all 0 for 5. 0 for 4 with 3 Ks yesterday. Brian Reynolds, CJ Crone, Ryan McMahon, Kyle Schwarber again. Yowza, Jonathan VR, and Bryson Stott, your boy. So, my goodness, Kyle Schwarber, Welsh.
Ugly. Well, I mean,
all right, Mark.
That's Schwarber.
Mark gave us the answer. JD Martinez, 269. Eugenio Suarez, 199. Yadier Molina, 172. And Brandon Belt for 171. Look at the contributions.
It's a fantastic one. What a unique list. The problem is it feels almost impossible to make those guesses. JD is great. Like, what would have been a better trivia question? I'm not trying to put it out. Well, I guess Eugenio would have been in there as well, but it would have been like the guy with the most homers, active homers without it. After he did that, after Judge did that, because I would have never guessed Eugenio. I'd have never guessed Yadier Molina, but that is a fantastic question.
All right, let's get to the home run board for today. The Night King in the North still at the top, and Florence Sox is up to 11 after getting Christian Yelich right. Max Jr. is up to 10 with Pete Alonso. So I call Pete Alonso. He doesn't hit a home run. He calls him. He does. So there you go. So obviously Pete Alonso hates me now. I guess that's just the way things go. And also I want to remind you, if you're listening and you're out there, we're trying to give away this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. baseball to you. Theon from Ontario. Theon, please. So if anybody knows Theon, if anybody can find Reek, if anybody can find any of the Greyjoy family, let's reach out to Theon.
Where are the Greyjoys?
We're trying to unite Theon with this ball that I want to give him, that I feel like he needs. I feel like Theon needs this ball, this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. autograph. I can't even get through it. This Vlad Guerrero Jr. autograph baseball. We want to give it to you. But look, if you don't claim it in the next 24 hours, I've been trying all week, we're going to give it to somebody else. I know who we're not giving it to, Mike Mayer, because Mike Mayer would turn around and give it to some kid, right?
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He would dangle. He would go to a game and be like, hey, look at kid, I got this baseball. You can't have it.
Maybe we should give it to, you know what? Mark brings up a good point. He should take it, maybe. Maybe Mark should be the guy to get that baseball. Mark bringing content to the show and not just in the A segment, Mayor.
I actually got an idea. You know what we could do? We could have a show where that day Every excuse me, losing my voice there. Every person that gets a homer on the home run call is put into a random pool, and one person
Ooh, I
who
like
gets a
that.
homer on that day is the one that wins.
I like that. That sounds like a good one. All right, let's get to the prop bets of the day from BetMGM, the king of sportsbook. If you bet $10, you can win 200 on any game, regardless of the outcome. Just bet $10 to win 200 when you use the promo code leading off. Again, that's one word, leading off. BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app. Go to betmgm.com. Bet responsibly. And when you do, use the promo code leading off to get that $10 for 200. That's a pretty good deal last time I checked. All right, I don't have a lot of things out there. I was all in this Bryce Harper trifecta, and then I dug a little deeper against his numbers this year against left-handed pitching. It hasn't been great, but there is a lot of plus money if you want to do a huge parlay of the total bases, the over on runs, and the over on, I think it was, what was it? It was runs, total bases, and I think RBI. If you put them all together and you bet like $10, you're going to win a couple $100. Basically, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's a tough one. But I think if you hit it, if he goes yard today, boom, you get it. It's over. Mookie Betts, I do like plus 135 on DK. The total paces at 1.5. And Whit Merrifield at 0.5, just 0.5 with hot Whit Merrifield on DK for runs at plus 150 against Texas. Texas is terrible. Do you have anything you like today here?
I got to tell you, I don't like a lot about today.
It's not a great day.
It's not a great day for it. A couple that I looked at, I kind of like the Pete Alonso plus total bases. It's at 1.5. You get plus money, plus 105. And I believe that is on BetMGM. You could do that one. A strikeout one. I've had some good luck recently doing the strikeout ones. Yesterday, I actually parlayed McClanahan and Gilbert, and that worked out quite swimmingly.
Nice.
And that paid off. One I kind of like, and this is a wacko one. It's Taijuan Walker. And his strikeout numbers are at 3.5. Now, here's the unique thing. He has 3 starts this year. He's only hit that once this year in those 3 starts. But here's a weird stat. Taijuan Walker has only pitched this season versus Philly. That's it. All of his starts have come against the Phillies this year. He doesn't have a start against anybody else. Guy had been pumping it up. I think this is a relatively good opportunity for him. It's only at 3.5. And I'm gonna jump on Taijuan Walker. And the dude has literally only pitched against one team in all 3 starts. So I'll go Taijuan Walker. I'll go Pete Alonso. Might also, I personally kind of like Luis Robert, Byron Buxton. Maybe I do a little hit parade, put those guys together. I think there's a couple hit ones you could do, but it's kind of a rough slate today.
All right, give me your home run call for the night, Welsh. Who's going yard?
I am at 5 right now. I'm trying to get up there. I look across the board, and I just kind of want to go nuts, and I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to go Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby's been stinging the ball a little bit, little confidence on the team as his other Whit hit a homer. I think we will have back-to-back Whits, but this time it'll be Robert Jr.
All right, I'm going to go Jordan Alvarez this afternoon. Mike Mayer is going with Marcus Semien. He says today is the day. So there we go. The slump breaker, Mike Mayer, is going to do it. In the meantime, I want to remind everybody, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch Leading Off live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at noon. We're here on YouTube. You can interact, become one of the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks yourselves. Who knows? Win fabulous prizes. You can join that home run contest at fantasypros.com/chat and join our Discord for free, and then upgrade as a Fantasy Pros member so you can get in that home run channel over on Discord. And that's about it.
And all the other stuff. Also, I'm going to be doing
as well.
I didn't do it last week, but I'm going to do AMA later today. So if you're in there, you'll get notified when I jump in and
What time is the AMA for everybody?
You know what? I don't have the exact time. I think it's going to probably be 3 or 4 Eastern. But here would be a big thing. Sign up, get in there, and you'll be notified when I'm in there. And you could come hang out and you can talk to me. It's not just like a chat. God. It's you can talk. We can talk together. Can you imagine?
Talk to the Welsh.
They get to talk to me.
I can't imagine what's that like.
I know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's cool for you every 3 times a week.
But that's very cool. I can't wait till tomorrow when we'll do it all again. That'll do it for us for today. The story of the game goes on for the Welsh. I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.